Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is Adam Sullivan, also known as Sully and around these parts, and welcome to this video. I know it's a lot different than I'm used to, and after the last time you see I have a hat on. So how y'all doing today? I think this is going to be a whole lot better video. I think I figured out what happened in the vlog that I had originally released. Part of it was the camera that you're seeing me through now was having some kind of audio issues later on in the video. But after doing some research, I think I figured out why it was doing that. So for today's video, I wasn't really sure what to do because I went and I was asking y'all and my friends of mine on Facebook and on the Facebook page, the Twitter page, I think I even mentioned it on Instagram too. What would y'all like to see from me on here or on this in the YouTube channel? And nobody left any comments, so I had to think of my own ideas. I thought of, well, hey, does anybody want any questions for me to answer about cello? And nobody answered. So if you have an idea, I'm telling you right now, you see this hand? It's pointed right here at my eyes. If you have any ideas, please let me know. I would love to make a video. I would love some ideas to make more content. My humor only goes so far. In this case, it's about 6 inches. So I decided, since we didn't have anything specifically to answer, we're gonna go about this a different route. And I went to the ultimate site for searching stuff, Yahoo. I know, this is about as boring as it sounds. But I decided to check out Yahoo Answers for some questions involving the cello. And, well, I decided let's just give them a quick answer, because, why not? Okay, so the first one I have here, by someone by the name of Lindsay, or Lindsay, I can't really tell. What are some things I should be working on to be orchestra ready? Oh, I guess I did read that right. And then I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. What are some expectations of going into an orchestra? My ultimate goal is to get into a performance major for cello. Okay, first off, I just want to go ahead and say, if you've only been playing for a year and you're already on Suzuki 5, plus you're starting to tackle the box suites, that's worth a clap. That's a lot of effort. Now, what the quality of that is, I don't know, but I'm not here to question that right now. We'll assume she's playing everything perfectly. So what are some things that you should be working on to be orchestra ready? Okay, coming from somebody who's, teaches privately and works with students privately, the main concern that I have with students working one-on-one versus whenever they want to go work for like their dream job, or in this case working with a group of people, is to start working with a group of people, even if it's not an actual orchestra or even any strings players. Find some musicians for you to play, will let you kind of join a jam session with. So for example, you can consider going to your local music store and go through and talk to some of the smaller guitarists that are just starting off, maybe even a bass player or two, and form like a little group to kind of just jam with. Not only is this good for working with a small ensemble, but this is also good with improvisation and also working with other ensembles outside the normal range, because that's something else I've noticed with playing with cellists and working in a professional setting. We tend to keep our everything kind of boxed. In the way that I personally see it is I like seeing, whenever I'm working with my musicians or working with my students even, I want to make sure that kind of break through that box. Whenever I think of a musician, I don't like seeing musicians who really corner themselves into one genre. Like, you'll see a lot of string musicians that'll go through and they'll start learning violin and then they'll think, oh, I'm going to only be a classical violinist. Well, that can only take you so far, even if you're the best in the world. I mean, think about it this way. Look at Yo-Yo Ma, for example. I know that's a very stereotypical cello answer, but think about Yo-Yo Ma for a minute. He's been playing for like 50, 60 years now, but while he primarily focuses on classical music, that's not his only focus. I mean, think about Silk Road Project. That's literally a project about world music. And that's not, of course, that's not the only example. I mean, think of like the pop sensations like Lindsey Stirling and E&D, 2 cellos, even piano guys. So it's something to keep an eye on is don't leave yourself boxed, and also work on being a little more comfortable working with other people. Another question she asked was, she was wanting some book recommendation. If you're another player who's been playing for a little while now and they've been self-teaching yourself, following videos on YouTube, and then trying to get an idea of what else you should do or anybody should do in order to be a better musician, start with etude books. Let's see. Whenever I work with my students, we always make sure to cover this thing. This is the Alan Schroeder 170 Foundational Studies for Cello. Of course, this is an edited version. You can get if you can find the original version, then use that. But you don't have to. You can use an edited version of that. Or we'll say, for example, you're on a budget and you don't have a lot of music, but you have access to a printer, or you've learned to view your music on like a tablet or a smartphone. What you can do is you can go to imslp.org, and you can go on there and type in cello etude, so you can get those for free, and you have some studies there. Although if you get the Schroeder's, most of the Schroeder studies are based off of those studies as well. However, you know, IMSLP does help a lot. What's the next one? Okay, this one is from a Skylar May. Yeah. Okay, Skylar asks, I really want to start playing the cello, but I have some questions. How much does it cost? She can read music and she just wants more general information. Okay, so I think what she's getting at in this question, and kind of the question I want to get through with this, is how much does it take to really get started with playing the cello? When I was planning this out, I just went looking around online to kind of figure out what the average online is, and I realized there's two overarching questions in this one statement, even though I don't think she realizes it. So the first question is, how much does a cello cost? And I'm taking this as a decent starter cello. You can go on Amazon and get these cheap cellos that are literally just pieces of plywood stuck together, and it's called a cello, but in actuality it does not play like a decent starting cello. Those will cost ballpark $100, $200 cellos. But I went and talked to a friend of mine by the name of Frank Albert. If you know Frank runs the Davidson Violin Shop up in Davidson, North Carolina, and you know, shout out to him. He's going to be on the channel eventually. I've been talking about doing interviews and all sorts of collaborative stuff with him because, you know, he's helped me out so much, so I want to try and help him out a little bit. So I asked him this question, and he wanted me to say, in his own words, in order to get a basic laminate cello, which would be literally, this is like bass floor fundamental cello that sounds okay, he recommended aiming in the ballpark about $700. Anything less than about $600, $700, personally I nor he would say it's worth the risk. As far as getting a fully carved cello goes, as in getting a cello that would be, you know, actually made by an artisan that's not machined. A carved cello is one that's made by an actual artisan. The quality of the parts that are in it might not be the best, but it was made by somebody who's been making these things for possibly a few years, possibly their entire lives. I mean, there are people who I've actually talked to commissioners, a luthier or someone who makes instruments and stuff for a living. They'll make like a handful of nice, like $20,000-$30,000 cellos, but they also kind of start off and make a lot of their main living off these like starter cellos. Frank recommended if you're looking at something like that, it would have some room to grow with your investment. He said that would probably start you off around $1,000. So in summary of all of this kind of going on and on and on for the past 10 minutes, if you're looking for something to just get started on, first things first, always avoid the temptation of the $100, $200 Amazon cellos, as they're called. The ones that are made by either unknown companies out of China or that are sold in bulk on Amazon that are like $200 or so. They're not worth it. They don't sound good, they break easy, and they're just overall not worth it. If you're looking for something that's bare minimum to get started on, aim in the ballpark about $700. Go ahead and keep an eye out for about $1,000. I know that's a lot of money, especially in the current shape our economy's in right now, but that would be the best bet in order to really aim for something that's worth it. However, if you're looking for an instrument that'll be really worth the investment going forward, go ahead and plan on investing about $1,500 or so. Once you start to plan to invest in more than about $1,000, I would start going to an actual luthier or some kind of musician's shop. I mean, even at worst, you could go to websites like Shar that are websites that specialize in string musician surplus and string musicians accessories, and I think they even sell instruments from time to time. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I would love to answer them. If you have any questions about cello, music in general, composing, because I do compose. I prefer arranging, but I love to compose my own stuff too. Finale, Audacity, as I keep looking to this way. If you enjoyed the video, I don't know how long it'll be. You know better than I do. I still need to think of a good catchphrase to end these things off with, don't I? Hey, hello there, crazy neighbor who slammed your car door. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and class dismissed.